The 4 services you can offer as a home stager. So within my business, within the first year, I had turned over about £40,000 in revenue, and that was often just one service. When I actually educated myself on the property industry, the different types of services that I could be fulfilling, that is really when in the next 12-month period, I scaled my business to turning over well over £1 million. And it wasn't through that service that you hear about all the time. It was actually a mixture of a few services, which is what I'm going to explain to you in today's video. So I'm going to share with you the 4 secret services you can offer. Let's take a look and dive in. So the first service, and the service that you've probably heard of if you've ever Googled this, is the staging for sale service. So this is where you're taking either an empty or a partly furnished property and you're going to stage that property for sale before it goes on to the market. This is the business idea that really started my business. My mum was selling her property. It was completely empty. It sat in the market for 3 months. I decided to stage it and then it sold within 3 days for above what the valuation was. So it was massive cha-ching, and I realized it's a great business idea. So that's what staging really is. It's preparing it for sale, and it's also giving it that massive win where your client will probably receive a higher offer, a higher sale price, and they will also get a quicker sale as there's more demand and more interest in the property. But what does this look like if you are the home stager? How do you provide this service? So when you're looking to provide this service, you're going to be quoting on either empty or partly furnished properties. You would then go in and furnish and stage that property, and the client will rent everything from you. The key word here being rent. They're going to rent the kit, as we call it, from you. Meaning that when the property sells or the rental period's up or it's asked to be removed, you then take that kit and can stage other properties with that same kit of furniture. This is genuinely one of the most scalable business models, and it's a strategy that I created to get paid up front and then to keep building kits, and it's how I scaled all the way to 7 figures. So the staging for sale service, I love it because it gives you creative control. You get an empty space and you have to make it the most appealing for buyers. And also it's a very scalable business model if you're starting from zero. The only con of this service is, I would say, is that it actually can become quite a lot to manage when you have several kits. You're managing a lot of logistics of where each kit is and where it will be moving to, but still one of my favorite services. There still are another 3 to come though. Now the second service, and again probably one of the most well-known services, is actually house doctoring. Now people can often confuse the staging for sale and the house doctoring because they're in a similar category. You're working with properties that are for sale. The difference is, I would say that staging for sale is more property developer, more property investor, and house doctoring is when you're working with homeowners, where you're actually coming into a place that they have lived and they currently do live, and you are doctoring that space to present it in its best shape for sale. Now, what I would say about this service is that it's a very easy service to get started with because you don't need a lot of kit. You will be going into someone's home and almost giving a consultation service rather than needing a kit of furniture to stage the property. Now, with this service, you can offer something like, I will bring in some cushions, I'll bring in some things that the property may need, but in general, it works on a consultation basis. So if you're thinking, I just want to dip my toe in the water, I want to enter into this slowly, you can do this service as a completely one-man band. You don't need much kit. You can literally drive from client to client and do this. On the flip side of that, because it is a consultation service, there is only one of you, meaning it's going to be a little bit more challenging in order to scale up to a 6 and 7 figure level. If you're loving hearing all about the services you can offer as a home stager, then click that subscribe button. There are so many videos for you to dive into. Now the third service, and this might suit you if you want a little bit more of a setup that I want to work right here from my sofa, and that is virtual staging. So virtual staging is taking a property, a photograph of a property, usually empty, and then virtually staging the space. Now, you don't need to have massive experience within CAD or Photoshop or anything like this in order to do this. There's some amazing resources out there like 5D Planner that you can actually virtually stage properties. Now, virtually staging isn't something that I massively do within our business. And the reason behind that is that we started off by buying your kits and scaling the company that way. But also, I feel like virtual staging, if you have virtually staged the images of a property, then that viewer shows up to view the property. The feedback I've been given is that they're a little disappointed because they thought they were coming to see something different than what's being presented. And most people do buy properties from seeing them in person. Apart from me, I actually bought my apartment, I'm back home in Glasgow, without even stepping foot into it. I mean, I've still not even stepped foot into it at this point. But yes, virtually staging, it's a great business to run. Again, it's a little harder to scale to large amounts of income. However, it's still possible, and it is a great way for you to get started. Service 4, are you ready for this? And potentially one of the biggest arms and most profitable arms of my business is staging properties for service accommodation and HMO. Now, if you're like, what on earth does that mean? Then let me explain. Service accommodation is like your Airbnb type properties, booking.com, think of holiday apartments, holiday homes. Have you ever went abroad and stayed in like an Airbnb rather than a hotel? Then that is exactly what service accommodation is. HMO actually means house of multiple occupancy, meaning that it's usually one property with many different tenants from different families. So think of this like a student block. So it might be one bigger house with 6 bedrooms, and all of those bedrooms are individually rented out. Now this is a completely different concept to staging for sale when you get into this part of the industry. Now remember, staging for sale, you're presenting something to look as beautiful as it possibly could, to show off the space, to show off the lifestyle. Service accommodation is a lot more functional than that, because someone is going to be coming into this property, they're going to be sleeping on the beds, they're going to be making pasta, and they're going to be living. So it's 2 different concepts. So with staging for sale, you can be a lot more aesthetic and not everything has to be functional. Whereas it's very different with the service accommodation and HMO side of things, because as we said, people are going to be using that furniture and it does need to be a sturdier quality. So within this service, you're getting into providing the spoons, the forks, the knives, the microwave, all of those different things. So it's a lot more than just what the eye sees. Now, because someone will be living in this property, the client will purchase the furniture from you, because obviously you couldn't rent it to them and have it returned if it has been used. However, this service is massively profitable and is another very scalable service you can offer, and you can scale this up big style with no startup funds too. Now, if this is just blowing your mind of all the income streams that you can create in your home staging business, I have a free training for you at STAGERBOSS.com. This training is going to go into major depth of how to take your business from an idea all the way to 6 and 7 figures of income. It's going to detail all of that out for you at STAGERBOSS.com. Go get the free training and I'll see you there.